athletic field to take the place of a white flag that was occupied by the blue Union and the old United States flag of the St. George's Cross, the British flag. As a people, we are fighting to maintain the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior or colored race. A white flag would thus be emblematical of our cause. The guy who designed that said that it was white because it was for white people in their war against abolition. Upon a red field would stand forth our Southern Cross gemmed with the stars of our Confederation, all combined. All right. It may be objected that a flag in which white prevails might be mistaken for a flag of truce, which it was. That it could not be seen as distinctly as red or blue, that it would be easily soiled and so forth. The first objection is not good, because you can flip it upside down. In the smoke of battle, now you're going to love this one. In the smoke of battle or at sea against the blue sky, the white would stand out as vividly as either the stars and stripes of abolitiondom. The man who made that flag said that our stars and stripes were the stars and stripes of abolitiondom. He said what he was fighting against. He said what that banner stood against. That banner was designed to demonstrate the superiority of the white man. Cheer it again. All right. If you don't know the lessons of history, you're doomed to repeat them. There's a lot of idiots. There's a lot of idiots. I mean in general, but there's a lot of idiots who don't know what the Civil War was about. If you can't tell that what I just read was white supremacy, then you definitely cannot find white supremacy at any other time or place. Right now, we have the school-to-prison pipeline, and we have policing inequities. You guys are doing great. We have, inequities in food and healthcare and environmental resources. We have inequities in everything, but it's all subtle. It's actually hard to see. You have to study. If you can't tell that these people screaming about the superiority of the white man was racist, you certainly can't figure out anything racist that's going on nowadays. If you can't tell that they were racist in 1860, if you can't tell that they were racist in 1860, that costs you nothing. I can know any historical fact, and I don't have to do anything about it. But if I wanted to recognize anything unjust about my society right now, I might have to do something about it. If I'm not willing to see 160 years ago, I am definitely not willing to see what's going on right now. If you don't know why the southern states seceded, you cannot understand American history. And in that case, you are doomed to repeat it. And here we are. So take it down!
So we're going to get marching here in a moment.
No, he needs to stop.
Actually, before that, Jeffrey's going to ask you what
erase history.
Today I want to address those who oppose the movement on active memorials to the troops. You all don't know me, so let me tell you. My family has been in Texas since at least 1890. We were farmers, ranchers, hunters, soldiers, mailmen, and carpenters. I think we had a postmaster, I'm not too certain on that. Buildings that my great-grandfather built with his own hands where he no doubt bled still stand. I am proud of my family members who walk. By the way, Section 4201 is a Class B misdemeanor that the police department is refusing to enforce right now.
What are they refusing to enforce?
What? What?
I am proud of my family members who walk before me. They were salt-of-the-earth folks who did their best in an imperfect world. I grew up in a very small Texas town that grew much bigger, much like here. I graduated from two of the finest universities in the world, the University of Texas and Texas State. I raised 4 children in a beautiful Texas town. I cared for my family's elderly while I prepared for the future of our kids. I am proud of who I am. So even though my truck isn't a Texas edition, I address you today as a fellow Texan. I'm going to continue to speak personally here. I've done all sorts of things that harm black folks.
I've called black folks the N-word out of anger and for fun. I've crossed the street to avoid passing black men. I've told jokes about them. I've avoided black-sounding names.
Okay, and
while
that
hiring
falls on
individuals.
him. How does it fall on us
I
for all
did
of this?
It happened. This is the truth. I'm not proud of this, but I am not ashamed of it either. I didn't know better. You see, I was raised in a Texas where black people didn't exist because they didn't belong. Let me give you an example. There was one black student in my elementary school grade, Terrence, and I touched his weird hair. I did this. It happened. This is the truth. I'm not proud of this, but I am not ashamed of it either, because I didn't know better. In the Texas I grew up in, family reunions consisted of discussions about sorry black folks. There were lots of laughs to be had. I laughed. I did this. It happened. This is not the truth. This is the truth. I'm not proud of this, but I'm not ashamed of it either. I didn't know better. In the Texas I grew up in, there were no black folks or even people of color at that church. If any were to be seen, I would assume they were beggars. I did this. It happened. This is the truth. I'm not proud of this, but I'm not ashamed of it either. I didn't know better. I tell you these things today, not as
No,
boasts.
because if you go over there, they'll probably start accusing you of something, or somebody
All
will.
of you know, I'm one of you. I remain proud of my family,
Regardless if
who
it's
they were,
innocent or
and who
not.
I am. I did this. It happened. This is the truth. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it either. I didn't know better. Let me get even more personal with you. I want to tell you about a time when I had to face an uncomfortable truth about a family member to whom I looked up to. I will not name him. Through a series of events, it became necessary for my daddy to tell me about the uncomfortable truth about this unnamed family member. He had done terrible things. He had hurt many family members. He had brought great shame on our family name. We were whispered about in town. When his name was spoken, there were two sets of truth that everyone knew: the great, fun things he had done, which were talked about, and the evil things which we did not speak about. So now that I had learned the uncomfortable, absolute, unquestionable truth from my daddy about this family member in whom I had previously placed so much admiration, what was I to do? First, I thought a whole lot about the situation. Then I forgave him. Then I attended his funeral, putting flowers on his tombstone. On February 2, 1861, county-level delegates representing the people of Texas, after having met in Houston, Texas, released a document entitled "A Declaration of the Causes Which Impel the State of Texas to Secede from the Federal Union." Texas said loudly and proudly to the entire world, "This is why we are leaving the United States of America." I would read parts of it to you, but honestly, it's almost a completely different language than what we're used to. They talked a lot, so in the interest of clarity and time, I've summarized Texas' reasons for leaving the United States of America. Texas wanted to protect slavery from the government of the United States. The U.S. federal government wasn't giving Texas enough money to fight Indians. White people were better than black people, and naturally, black people should live underneath the rule of white people. Texas used 1,626 words to tell us why Texas was leaving the United States of America, and only gave us these three reasons. 1,626. They didn't run out of paper or words. No one was preventing them from speaking their minds or telling the truth. They weren't attempting to be politically correct. They spoke their minds and gave just three reasons. I know this is not what a lot of us were taught. Why? Because like with my family members after losing the war, there was much shame and guilt and hurt feelings. Texas needed to move on, so did the entire nation. But some folks took it too far. I have one cousin that denies anything evil ever happened. All she will talk about in this regard is the kind things he did our kinsmen did. The United Daughters of the Confederacy, the people who put up most of these statues, like my cousin, ignored the shameful facts, sought out exclusively the good, cleaned it up a bit, and put some pink lipstick on that pig. They called it a beauty queen. I can't and I won't apologize. I can't and I won't ask you to apologize or feel shame of what our ancestors did. To do so would be serious bullshit. I didn't want you to toss ill at the deep, ill at the dead either. Did you notice that when I talked about my family, I didn't name any names or specific names? I only talked to you about Here I got my proof. Someone who was there, someone who saw it all. What I can expect from each of you is something that I think is reasonable, that you agree with the difference between honoring someone and respecting someone. Respect is attending a funeral. Respect is not speaking to the dead. Respect is forgiving them and placing flowers on their tombstone. Respect is also listening when the speaker is speaking. Honoring the dead, there are a lot of disrespectful people here. Honoring the dead is elevating them as an example of the best of us. What we would want to be, what we want our children to be. Big difference. I could respect my family member without elevating him as an example to my children. I don't have to honor him for his good deeds to show the respect that each and every one of us as humans deserve. I tell you this to lead you to the conclusion that absence of honoring the dead is not the absence of respect. It is not disrespectful to cease honoring the dead. I have every confidence in the goodness of each one of you sitting in the heart of each one of you. You're all good people. I believe all of us agree keeping human beings in chains is wrong. I believe that all of us love being given the gift of living in the greatest nation the world has ever seen, the United States of America. I believe all of us want good things for our neighbors, our fellow Americans, and fellow Texans. I believe all of us want our children to grow up happy and live peaceful lives. I want all of us to be America is a great one. And yes, I believe, as you do, all lives matter. All humans, whether be alive or dead, deserve respect. They did this. It happened. This is the truth. I'm not proud of it, but we are not ashamed of it either. We didn't know better. All I am asking you to do is move these monuments from places of honor to places of respect. They did this. It happened. This is the truth. I'm not proud of this, but we are not ashamed of it either. We didn't know better. You didn't know better, and now you do.
I'm gonna go get my water.
We're going to ask again that everybody just ignore them, let them argue with themselves. So before we get marching, I just want to address a few things. Our Sheriff's Department and our Gainesville Police Department has informed us not to walk across the street. They've even stopped a press person walking across the street. So if you do, just use the crosswalk, we'll obey the rules. They also said that there's been some very interesting conversations with them, and I'm just ready to call it out and let everybody know. So that's what we're going to do here today. So we've been meeting with Gainesville Police Department, we've been meeting with Cook County Sheriff's Department, and recently we've been meeting with DPS weekly. Every time we have a protest, we meet with them. Gainesville Police Department has not been helpful. We have found out that they required us to have permits on this courthouse when they didn't need to. That's why we don't need a permit today. They made us believe that they were going to give us tickets for having the sound system out here at the courthouse, and they required a permit. What they were doing with that permit information was calling the opposite side and telling them our plan. We have the proof.
So is the proof then.
Show us
We
the
put in
proof!
a permit request
Where's the
for one
proof?
day, and it was denied, even though there was another function going on, and we got approval through that family to march after their function. GPD refused that permit, and so right after they sent us an email saying that they were refusing our permit, they had already picked up the phone and contacted the opposers and told us of our change of plan. It is time that we call this out. Officer Justin Patterson with Gainesville Police Department has been seen on Facebook under the pseudonym Axel Fold. He has said that he would like to see a counter-protest against us, to find our jobs, and to protest our family. We
So is
brought
the
this to
proof.
the attention of Gainesville Police Department Chief, and he said there is nothing they can do.
Where's the proof?
We are asking that he be relieved from duty.
Gainesville Police Department. If Gainesville Police Department is going to stay as neutral as what they are saying, then all their officers off duty and on duty need to be just that, neutral. Putting on Facebook, trying to find where we work, and to protest our families and homes is not being neutral.
Okay, you got proof, so it's a proof. Point it out to us.
So when we march today, we are marching for the court commissioners, who, by the way, we sent another email to and asked that they meet with us. I sent a very sincere email and said, let's reach across the aisle, and today they have still yet to reply because they don't want to talk. They lied on the commissioner's court and said that they're willing to talk, but they won't reach back out. They'll ignore our phone calls. They'll deny our public requests, our public information requests, which is now being tied up by the Attorney General's office.
But yet, still ain't showing no proof.
It is time that if Gainesville Police Department wants to stay neutral, they need to stay neutral. Permits are not required on the courthouse line, and we will not be getting permits further because they just use that information to tell counter-protesters our plans. Let's talk about July 1st. Everybody
Why didn't he tell us our plan they posted on the Facebook?
July 1st?
Was lied to counter-protesters.
Yeah, exactly.
And trigger happy. We obtained the permit request for them that literally said the purpose of their meeting was to show of force. Now,
Trigger
here's the
happy.
definition of
There's
show
one
of
with a
force.
gun.
That's not very peaceful to me. It's a military
Where's the
tactic
others?
used as a warning shot. And they approved it. But yet they want to put on their press release yesterday that they don't want out-of-towners coming.
There's
Usually
two with a
a
gun.
long time ago.
3 with guns.
We will continue to march every week until this statue
But yet we're
is
trigger happy.
removed by the court commissioner.
No gun.
We will not be silenced and we will not be intimidated. You, sir, carrying your gun, pointing it at us. I see you put it up now because the police officers asked you. That will not intimidate us. So now we are going to march. Please march with us. We're going to obey the laws because they are chomping at the bits to arrest us. So we will stay on the sidewalks. I ask that everybody follow us, and we're going to meet at the statue before we march. But this is why we're out here. This is why we're not going to stay silent. When you have the police officers
Are you
not
kidding
being
me,
neutral
people?
and refusing to hold their officers accountable, and then you also have the court commissioners refusing
Cops here
to
ain't
talk
done
to
nothing
us, to listen
except
to us.
keep everybody
The city of
apart.
Gainesville, the Cook County Commissioners, and GISD had a committee. The mayor loves to boast about this committee. They had a committee after the prayer vigil we had for George Floyd, which, by the way, these people showed up with their guns for that, too. So while we had a peaceful prayer vigil, they had a committee formed. That same committee is why Gainesville City Council decided to remove the statue at Leonard Park. Yet our county court commissioners were in that same meeting, yet they didn't listen. How is it that people were in the same meeting, yet the county court commissioners came up with a different outcome than everybody else?
That statue doesn't belong to Gainesville.
That
This
statue
one
is going to
does.
come down eventually.
This
It may
one
take me 1
belongs to
year, it may
Gainesville.
take me 20 years, but that statue will come down.
Sit down, babe.
So I ask that everybody express solidarity as we call for the removal of the Confederate statue, and we call for racial justice, because it is a problem. In 2003 and 2002, our Cook County Sheriff's officers, 3 of them were arrested for civil rights violations after they beat people who were already in custody. That didn't make the news here because they wanted to keep it in a wrap. But it's
Where's your
happening.
proof? Where's your
As
proof?
late as 2013,
Hey.
the ACLU of Texas put the
Hey.
Cook County Sheriffs on notice after racial biases reports came out that you were 27% more likely to be arrested for
Let 'em
minor
speak. You're
marijuana
feeding into
charges
it, babe.
than if you were white.
I don't have no proof.
That was the fourth
Let 'em say what they
worst
want.
racial bias report in the nation
and the
that
second
statue
worst.
at Leonard Park does not belong to Gainesville.
Have a seat.
Now
babe.
we have talked to the officers. We meet
You
with
already
them
told me
weekly.
you were going not to start.
But after Gainesville Police Chief Kevin Phillips told us, we
Two wrongs don't make
met
a
with
right.
him and we were concerned about the false report going around about us burning down the courthouse, which obviously
Nobody
is
said that.
false.
Posted
They
up and we all
refused
said that it
to
wasn't
put out a
true.
press release for our safety saying that it's not credible, citing they can't take sides. Instead, Captain Garner said on KXII that there's no way to confirm if it's credible or if it's not, which just puts our lives in danger even more. But as you can see, we're peaceful. We've always been peaceful, and we will continue to be peaceful. So I asked the city of Gainesville, Cook County, Texas, to join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. because we will not stop. Join us every week as we march the streets, the sidewalks of California Street and other streets, demanding the removal of this statue. We will stay within the law so they have no reason to arrest us, but if they do, we have plenty of documentation to back up that we are legal and peaceful. Anybody who says otherwise is simply not telling the truth. So let's march, because why? Because Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! All right, let's head to the statue. Let's head to the statue and let's march.
And not one person here said black lives don't matter. They say all lives matter.
If you need anything, what do we want? When do we want it?
That's the biggest mouth of them all. Jessica.
Just watch that son of a bitch, that black bill on her face.
That itty bitty thing wearing that big old gun.
And here goes Jessica starting her stuff all over again.
Is she coming on here?
No, she's right there talking to the guy in the white shirt, trying to get him riled up.
Okay, my pickup's right over there and it's loaded, so I think I'll find where it comes.
Well, when I was over there earlier, I didn't see any singular Hot damn, bitch, put your legs together. I don't do that right.
Do what, baby?
Apparently he's handling his own.
You know, they don't give a shit about black lives. Yeah.
You gonna walk with me to go get my water? You gonna walk with me to go get my water?
Let's go get some water.
'Cause I'm like